no difference what you're going through. You're gonna make it. God's gonna see you through. Hold your head up. Put a smile on your face. This is another test. It won't last always. So get ready. Get ready for your blessing. Your blessing. Get ready. Get ready for your miracle. For your miracle. Get ready. Get ready for your blessing. For your blessing. Get ready. Get ready for your miracle. For your miracle. I know you've been hurting down inside. Let me encourage you, it's gonna be alright. Troubles and trials come to make you strong. Keep on believing, you keep holding on. Get ready for your blessing. For your blessing. Get ready for your miracle. For your miracle. Get ready for your blessing.
Good morning, Sir Markadoo here with Sir Media Group, where we put your business in the streets. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things should be added unto you. Well, folks, the topic is today is why children don't return to church as adults. Now, this is God's business now today we're dealing with, so it's a little bit different. It still has something to do with the economy and how the church economy works and all this and that, right? So, let's get right to it, all right? Here we go. I'm going to be writing an article in a magazine. Well, hopefully. And it's my job and my task to inform the body, the church body and the body of Christ, what is happening with our children, revolving around economics and church. So the first article that I'm going to write is what the topic is: why children don't return to church as adults. And it's weird because I think one of the first people, I believe, some of the people we would need to interview first is adults. Adults that don't go to church, and say why. There's a lot of reasons why it doesn't happen. We can filter into it and come up with one reason why, and maybe you can help me. I'm going to open up the lines early. 404-286-6700, 404-286-6700. One of the reasons why I believe that children don't return back to church as adults, because of whatever experience they had in church, it didn't quite work out for them, right? So let's get there. Let's say I believe that I didn't have an accountability partner as a mother, a brother, a sister, someone to go to church with me, give me a clear understanding of what I was doing in the church or why I was there. And it really plays a role because my son, we sent him over to, and it was just so weird. It was just something that we did. We said, okay, the youth ministry is in that building right there. Go over to that building right there. So we depended on him to take himself over there, and he didn't quite have the experience that he was looking for. So he began to, stray away from there and play hooky from it. Okay? So, one of the staff at the church, he was, we were talking, and I said, you know something about the youth ministry? And he said, well, you know, they're having something over there, they're at the end of it for the parents and the youth. I said, well, maybe I should go over there. Before church started, I shot over there. And that's when I realized he was playing hooky. That's the deal. I can only imagine what he was thinking when I called him, okay? But the deal was, I wasn't really mad at him. I had an understanding of it. So what I did is I joined the youth ministry. So now I'm right there with him. And we happened to challenge him yesterday. We had a family dinner and a meeting, and it was interesting that his choice of words about church, and I realized that he mentioned that, you know, one of the things that I sit next to him. Well, this is to me, an awesome thing to do. Now that I'm there on Sundays, I get a bird's eye view of what is really going on in that youth ministry. And they got different youth ministries, right? They got the, you know, the grade school, and then middle school, and then high school, right? So I'm with the high schoolers, which is awesome and it's all right. So sometimes they split them off, right? And they do certain tasks. But what I've noticed is that there wasn't really that many men there. And the men that were there didn't have children in the ministry, the youth ministry. So, see, that's part of what my thought process is that there's no accountability, even for the parent. And I just happened to begin to talk to one of the brothers. He comes and sings in the ministry. He's a older dude. He might be in his 30s, could be in his early 30s, and he's a lead singer for the ministry. And we happened to connect yesterday. We connected a couple of weeks ago, but we really connected yesterday. And he said to me, he said, he'd been praying, and I helped him change the dynamics of what he was thinking about and praying about. And I said, wait a minute. What are you talking about? How can I bring that kind of passion to you? I don't even know what it is. So he said to his companion, what is it that you see out there in the audience when they're singing every Sunday or every other Sunday? What is missing? And they said, men, the fathers. I said, wow. Because I think him hear me out the open and said, well, I joined the youth ministry and I have a son in there. And we continue to talk about it for a minute, and that was one of my things too, that, probably 90% of those youth that was in that service, their parents probably was over in the General Assembly, right? So they're not taking that same energy and putting it into the youth ministry. What's happening, they just drop them off and then they go that way. And I understand it, that why that happens, because I don't think, and I feel that it's not mentioned, it's not driven in there, nobody's really saying it. That's why I told my man, I said, if you begin to let the children start talking about what's going on and why things ain't what it should be in the ministry, you will get an array of answers. And some of them will probably be complaining about what the things they're not getting from somebody in the household. If there are not any fathers in the home, and their fathers, most of them have children that's out of the church and they're not in that church, they need to go and volunteer at least 2 weeks, 2 Sundays out of the month, the minimum. If there was it was obviously a whole lot more girls in the youth ministry than the boys, and that's what happened in most churches. There's way more women. They'll come in there 3, 4 deep, and there's got to be some equilibrium there when you're dealing with the youth ministry. The lines are open, 404-286-6700. They're 404-286-6700. Come on, chime on in. Let's see what's going on in our churches, and things that we can change, okay? And things that we can adjust. You don't have to change anything, right? So one of the other gripes that I feel that's going on with the ministry is they're not showing enough statistics. The stats are incredible. They showed some stats on the YouTube. I wish I had got that YouTube. And they were showing X amount of youth doing drugs, X amount of getting raped, X amount of youth doing this, X amount of kids dropping out of high school every single day. And I was talking to one of the leaders in the church yesterday, and he was saying, I can't believe those numbers are like that. It's incredible. I said, let me tell you something. What's even more incredible? Those just the numbers that was posted. Those ain't actual numbers. I bet it's much higher than that. And he said, wow, I didn't even think about that. And I said, well, now's a good time to think about it. Why our children are going astray and not coming back in. You let these kids just go off and do whatever they want to do, and there's no pressure. I told him, I said, I ain't one of those fathers. I'm one of those fathers, I put some pressure on my kids. And I think it's the right thing to do. We got a call. Please hold. Mark, see who that is. Make sure that's a caller. And I believe you need to put that kind of pressure, on ourselves as adults to do the things that we need done to make sure our children, we need to get in there and express ourselves to these youth, let these youth know that we're there. It's unbelievable. Hold on, we got a call. Call, you on the air.
Good morning, sir.
What's up, big time?
I can't call it, my brother.
Sure you can. You're a shot caller. I know you can call it.
Yeah, man, we back.
Yes, sir. So you've been tuning in to this broadcast?
Oh, most definitely, man, most definitely.
So you want to chime in on what we're talking about so far?
Sure. I mean, like,
What aspect? Go ahead.
Go ahead, tell me. Give me something to go on.
Okay. I said one of the number one things that I feel that we don't have a good hold on is that there's not enough men in the church, and kids go astray, and we wonder why our children don't come back, or they don't want to go to church. They don't want to go, and they don't want to come back as adults.
Right.
It's not enough accountability. I mean, I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm just glad I finally got it registered in my mind that if I could spend time over in the General Assembly, right?
Right.
Surely I can spend time in where my son's worshiping at, right? And help them. They're praising and worshiping in the youth ministry. They're over there singing, clapping. They're doing all the things they would do, over the other side, right?
Right.
So I'm getting my praise on too, but I get a chance to be an advocate, for my son and for the other kids too.
Right.
And
go
ahead.
Listening to the broadcast, man, which is another wonderful topic, man, and experience for those that chiming in. You said that the absence of the man in church. I think that has been for a long, long time. But there are a lot of men, in the church that does, go with, their loved ones as a family as a whole. The lack of men in the church, I think it still has something to do with the gender, male leading that dominant role model and that figure. Because I've seen some stats too, and it was like, so many single women are in church. I don't know if women going to church looking for their husband or whatever like that, but you have heard so much from different angles. I feel for one, the lack of the boys in church. I think they just need to get them there. Second, I think it's more of an understanding. I have always thought that to even go praise and worship, it's a faith-based thing. You know what I'm saying? People have to understand what faith is. People have to understand what spirituality. I think, it's growing up. I think it needs to start early as possible for them to understand what's going on. I think
exactly.
You can't be forced on anybody, but it's a feeling. You know what I'm saying? It's like listening to certain music. It's a feeling that comes along with that territory, and I think that's what it's all about. You get them there, give them a chance to experience wherever they go. I think the feeling will overcome, and then once they get the knowledge of what's going on, I think it kind of like changes the dynamics of that.
Absolutely. I believe that too. You said the earlier the better. And I just wish I had done that. I was there to do that with my children, but it was, what do I know? Like I said, I was one of those kids and that was just like that. My mother used to dress us up and said, go to church. And I don't know what she was doing, sleeping, whatever she was doing, but she would get us dressed up, go to church, But it like you said, to try to navigate through that whole essence of what that whole experience was very difficult without somebody really, really being there. And I remember as I got a little older, 10, 11, 12, I used to go to this church around the corner and I wanted to go. You feel me? It was, like you said, it's a feeling attached to it, right? And I wanted to go. I think my father, we used to come down here to Georgia from the north, and he used to make us go to church. So I had already had that, like you said, that early experience with it, and all that, that music and people falling out and people praising and worshiping. So I already had a little bit of that in me. I think as I got a little older, I don't think I would have, gravitated. I think that the church experience in the South was, to me, was a little bit, the experience was different in the North, right? The way they praise and worship in the North, where I was from, didn't look like nothing like what I seen right here in Decatur, So there you go. I think you really did hit that on the head. I think we're starting early. And, my son was 14 when we went into this church. And was that early enough, or was it too late? I think it was a little too late, but I think it was it's still relative that I do it now and give him that experience, right?
Right, and at the same time, I think, like I said, once again, dealing with faith or dealing with spirituality, you know, like we all know, it's really a lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Like if people going to church, if kids see one thing about it, kids become what they see.
Yes.
They're gonna stray off because of the. I feel like, you know, dealing with you know, the spirituality part. You know, as it says that we were kind of born in sin, so therefore we all gonna be doing. We all have the Adam nature. You feel me?
Yes.
So therefore it's just a lifestyle. You know, a lot of people just go to church, and you know, sometimes I feel like, I always felt like, how can you really worship or be committed to your faith base if you don't understand the words? So I had been a firm believer when I started, you know, getting together about, I need to know what it means. I need to know what the words mean so that I know. Because it's two things, really understanding and the wisdom. Then you have that feeling once again. I think that's where a lot of people do a lot of church hopping, because it's a feel. They haven't got that feel. So I feel like until you get that feel wherever you're going, I think that's where the rubber meets the road at. When you get that feel, I think at that point you know that you either made the wrong decision or the right decision.
Yeah, that's interesting because I'm you know, and through our hope upon hope, I really do hope that my 15-year-old will get you know, hopefully he'll say this is a great thing, and he'll understand. Doesn't matter where he goes, you know, what faith-based thing he go to could be, you know, the monks, you know, and but whatever, like you said, whatever moves you, whatever has you, you know, struck. I just happen to know that my faith alone is enough to keep me, you know, there. And the beautiful part is that I'm glad I learned at an early age that I have a choice to praise or not to praise. You feel me? I'm just wondering with your, like, even with your children, you have young children, right? You have the youngest one is what, about 1 year old, something like that? Not even one yet.
Not even one yet.
Now the next child is what?
Going on 4.
Okay, 4. And the 4-year-older, how do they, and it's interesting, I'm asking you, because these are the questions I want to ask, because me doing this article it's important. How does your 4-year-old take on praise and worship right now?
I know for a fact she don't understand that, but she does. When she listens to music, she knows the words, you know what I'm saying, at those times. So she is comprehending. And, you know, my mom's a minister, so my mom, you know, teaches her this and teaches her that, and what I do, I sit back and watch her, and she enjoys it. So that's the thing. You have to, with anything, you have to introduce it to them, and then go from there. I don't care what we're doing. It has always been about your delivery. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And the continued delivery, right? I believe that a child that really grows up in that environment that you have your children growing up in is, I think it's masterful. And the beautiful part, the most beautiful part is that you're involved as a father, right? Not just not just your wife and not just your mother, right?
Right.
So that female imagery that a lot of times that our children get, now, but you're a strong father and strong-willed, right?
Right.
So you're not beating it into your children, but they know that this is the right thing to do, right?
Right.
Awesome. And
then,
go ahead.
You know, also, you know, like I say, the children see, they become what they see.
Monkey see, monkey do.
I think a lot of parents, what happened is, you know, a lot of people, you know, they go to where they worship, and then when they leave, they live a different lifestyle. So what we have to remember is somebody else is watching us. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
so I think a lot of children become disorientated from the lifestyle. They see you doing this, and you come home, you doing it. A lot of people leave church to go back drinking. They do.
Yes.
I think our actions really makes it hard for a lot of people when you say, I believe this, and then when they learn what's supposed to be right, and then you're not really doing it, they looking at you like, I thought you said, and it never gets broke down to them.
Right.
So I think it has a lot to do with our actions, sir.
Yeah. Monkey see, monkey do.
Exactly.
Exactly. And it's interesting because that is the fine line right there. We like to say rubber meets the road. And that's that fine line is what they see this hour of the day, and what they see that's the next hour of the day. It's confusing, isn't it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's so confusing, and I mean that's the sad part when it becomes confusing, and then sometimes the parents don't know. You know what I'm saying? Some
Right.
people they give up, and that's why it's faith based, man. You know what I'm saying? If you understand the definition of faith, and you tell them what it is, you know the substance hope for things not seen. So it is exactly what it is, and it's just something that each individual has to gravitate to if that's what they want. You know, if they're looking for, you know, because people can let you down, but you know, your own spirituality is where that redemption. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
that's where you find your peace and your happiness. That yours, not nobody can't give it to you. So it's an individual thing.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. They can't give it to you, and in most cases, they can't take it from you either.
Right.
You got that thing. That's why my feeling for around God is you can see if anybody that really know me in the family setting, they would say I'm more attached to the thing of what God really is. You know, I love it. I experience it. I always bring God's wisdom up. I said, wasn't for God, where would I be? You know, and I knew that even through my drug use and alcohol abuse and all that stuff, you know, that my faith carried me through. You know, like you said, it's something to hope for, but it was definitely the evidence of things not seen. Because I said, oh my God, I said, Lord, just help me. I don't see it, but I just need you to help me, Lord. You know, to bring me there. Get me here, Father. You know?
Right.
And believing that it was going to happen the way I praised it to happen. And teaching somebody at a young age, too, was awesome. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add to that, man. I mean, that's the most important part, man. Once you talk to your creator, man. That's what it's about, man. You gotta, that's that relationship. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, they don't have the relationship, man.
But that's what makes you a believer as well. Because when it start that thing not seen and then it starts to happen for you, that's what builds that understanding that I have faith.
Right. And I know he equipped everybody, man, with what they need, with the essential tools that everybody need, man. At the end of the day, man, there's something you have to all just tap into, man. That's I think that's kind of sum it up.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you. Tomorrow we're going to tap on it a little bit more. We ain't finished with this. There's a lot of reasons why our babies are not, they're leaving the church and not coming back, and we can fix it. We can fix it. Okay. Now, I appreciate it,
man. Peace and love.
Peace and love. I'll talk to you in a minute. Peace. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Tomorrow we're going to add some more to this. It's awesome. I want to say I hope that your day is a blessed day. There's definitely God has some blessings with your name on it, and begin to experience it. Let's start sharing with our children a little bit more about your church experience and what you expect of them, and ask them what they expect of you as well. So I want to thank you for tuning in. Tomorrow we'll be back with another segment of why our children don't come back to church as adults. God bless you and family. Have a great day.